Have you heard about the recent retaliatory airstrikes launched by the US in Syria? It all started with an Iranian-made drone killing a contractor, which led to a series of events resulting in US military action. Keep watching to find out more about this developing story.
On February 15, a drone attack on a U.S. military base in Erbil, northern Iraq, was believed to have been operated by an Iranian-backed militia. This attack prompted the United States to launch defensive airstrikes on facilities used by Iranian-backed militias Kata'ib Hezbollah and Kata'ib Sayyid al-Shuhada on the Syrian side of the Iraq-Syria border.
The aim of the airstrikes was to degrade the ability of these militias to carry out future attacks against U.S. and coalition forces in Iraq. The U.S. airstrikes were the first military action taken by the new U.S. administration under President Joe Biden. They signaled a continuation of the U.S. policy of using military force to deter Iranian aggression in the region, and sent a message to Iran that the U.S. will respond to attacks on its personnel and interests, even if they are carried out by proxy forces.
While the U.S. airstrikes were not the main topic of discussion during President Biden's meeting with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, they were part of a broader conversation about the U.S.
government's foreign policy and priorities in the region.
The two leaders also discussed the importance of working together on shared priorities such as climate change, COVID-19, and trade, and strengthening the relationship between the United States and Canada. On February 25, 2021, the United States launched a series of retaliatory airstrikes against Iranian-backed militia in eastern Syria in response to an attack on a U.S. military base in northern Iraq. The attack on the base was carried out using an Iranian-made drone and resulted in the death of a civilian contractor and injured a U.S. service member.
The U.S. retaliatory airstrikes likewise designated offices utilized by Iranian-supported volunteer army bunches KH and KSS on the Syrian side of the Iraq-Syria line. Once again, the Pentagon stated that the strikes were defensive in nature and aimed at degrading the ability of these militias to carry out future attacks against U.S. and coalition forces in Iraq.
This action by the U.S. was seen as a message to Iran that the U.S. will not tolerate attacks on its personnel and interests and will respond with force if necessary. Marked the first military action taken by the Biden administration in response to Iranian aggression in the region.
The United States launched retaliatory airstrikes in Syria following a drone attack that killed a U.S. contractor and wounded 5 American troops and another contractor in northeast Syria.
The airstrikes targeted facilities used by groups affiliated with Iran's Revolutionary Guard and killed at least 4 people, further escalating tensions in the Middle East. While Iran has not acknowledged the strikes, efforts to de-escalate the crisis began immediately after the attack, with Qatar serving as an interlocutor between Iran and the U.S. diplomacy to reduce tensions, comes as Saudi Arabia and Iran have been working towards reopening embassies in each other's countries, with recent progress appearing to be at risk. President Biden has emphasized the importance of protecting American troops and stated that the U.S. will take all necessary measures to defend its people. This recent strike is not the first of its kind, as the U.S. has previously attacked Syria over tensions with Iran.
Since 2015, the U.S. has maintained a presence in Syria, with roughly 900 troops and contractors stationed there.
Iran has been increasing its support for local proxies and intensifying activities in the border strip with Syria since the drone strike that killed Revolutionary Guard General Qasem Soleimani in 2020. The conflict in Syria is part of a regional proxy conflict that has seen Russia and Iran back Syrian President Assad. Over 300,000 civilians, soldiers, and insurgents have died in the fighting. Stopping such conflicts requires a multifaceted approach involving diplomatic, economic, and military measures. Diplomatic efforts can be made to de-escalate tensions and bring the parties to the negotiating table, while economic sanctions can pressure the offending country to change its behavior. Addressing the root causes of the conflict, such as political and economic grievances, is crucial to preventing further escalation.
International organizations such as the United Nations can play a role in mediating and resolving conflicts through peaceful means. The Biden administration's response to the recent retaliatory airstrikes in Syria has focused on sending a message to Iran that attacks on American personnel and interests will not be tolerated. The administration has also emphasized the importance of de-escalating tensions in the region and finding a diplomatic solution. The use of military force, while sometimes necessary, should always be a last resort.
The international community should continue to support efforts to de-escalate tensions and find a peaceful solution to the ongoing conflict in the region.
In conclusion, the recent retaliatory airstrikes by the United States in Syria, following the killing of a contractor by an Iranian-made drone, has once again raised tensions in the Middle East.
While the U.S. government has stated that the strikes were aimed at deterring future attacks by Iranian-backed militia groups, it has also drawn criticism from some quarters for potentially escalating the conflict. It remains to be seen what the long-term implications of this action will be, but it serves as a reminder of the complex and volatile situation in the region and the challenges faced by those seeking to maintain stability and security. It is important for all parties involved to exercise restraint and engage in dialogue to find peaceful solutions to the ongoing issues in the Middle East.
What actions do you think the international community should take to prevent similar conflicts and incidents